Hello there. I thought I would show you some stuff around the shop that we don't always talk about on the show. So this is my office. This is where I design things and watch cat videos online. Like here we have some Capacitance electronic discs. They're not laser discs. This was a format that was a competitor for the laser disc, but it was meant to be cheaper because it could be pressed in record factories. And instead of having dots or grooves in the disc like a laser disc does, it actually uses the thickness of the disc to change the capacitance. So that's a movie on there. This was for Best Custom Pinball at MGC 2014 for America's Most Haunted. Yay! A lot of the pinball back glass that we have, or games we don't finish, we stick up on the wall. Like there's a Tesla versus Edison game we never built, the Lost fan fiction game that we never finished, and some tacky beer signs. Oh, also we have our MakerBot here in the replicator, close to the computer. So we use that quite a bit. Kind of goes in waves, what machine we use the most, but 3D printer, I mean, we definitely got a lot of use out of it. And I like to cover it with all the stickers I get at conventions, so it kind of looks like luggage or something. This clock never works. It's so weird. I even replaced the movement, and it's like the wood is cursed. This was one of the first things I cut when I got my new laser engraver. Whenever anyone visits the shop, they always go right to this. And adults, not just kids. So here's the laser cutter that we used to cut the gears. This is a great device. Basically, you stick things in it and it cuts it with a laser. You can take copper-clad PCB, spray paint it, stick it in the laser, and then use the laser to burn away the paint. And then you can etch it and it gives you a really good result PCB. So we call it laser paint. Ghost Sword from the Ghost Squad episode is still around. I tore some parts off of it, but we still have most of it. So, you know, in case we ever have to fight a ghost. Then this is our new whiteboard. You're supposed to be able to flip it around, you know, be cool like you're a scientist. Is like, and this is why the Earth is gonna blow up. But it's easier just to turn this one around. So we usually keep show stuff on one side, and then on the other side is my debugging notes for pinball. I don't know, I always keep like a laptop here. This is useful for programming and stuff, and we have an Eagle running on it. Then we had this monitor laying around, so I just have it so I can, you know, get my 2 monitors going on, because I love dual monitors. I have dual monitors at home too, they're awesome. I have one of these as well, but I changed it to use LED lights. I can't really see it, but, and then we can bring this up. I 3D printed, this is a custom camera mount to put our Canon on, so we can actually film through the magnifying glass. And yeah, I have a bench power supply, an old bench power supply that uses a PC power supply. It's super loud. I have a Weller iron. It's a desoldering pump. I got this from Element 14. I always keep the leads off of resistors and capacitors and whatnot. I save all of these because when you're hand wiring stuff, or you know, like doing prototypes, these are really useful. So I just keep a big bucket. Oh yeah, and then I have the Fluke 287. This is a really nice multimeter, or a multimeter, depending on how you like to say it. Basically, we have capacitors there, resistors, connectors in this area, integrated circuits, Arduino bin, AVR bin, PIC bin, propeller bin, crystals, a bunch of LEDs, way too many of these guys. I don't know, I always run into the you know, Hitachi 44780 LCDs, and I always buy them for some reason, and I have more than I'll ever use, so I have to stop buying them at some point. Even found this one. Look at this one. Wow, that's pretty cool, huh? Another thing I buy too many of is 5-volt wall warts. They're pretty handy. I don't know, I probably have like 15 of those. They'll get used eventually. And this is our Ghost Squad game, which is now called America's Most Haunted. This board was, well, it was designed by me, but then my friend Parker Dillman at his new company Macrofab down in Texas, they redesigned it, and I believe they did it all in Eagle. And they also stuffed it down there too. They have a pick and place. So this is our new pinball design. And it has a Bluetooth module on it. It's optional, so you can talk to it wirelessly, like with the tablet. And this is my prototype game. The real America's Most Haunted Pinball Machines, which have actually started to become, they're being manufactured now. As I mentioned, there's some shipping this week. They look a lot neater than this, but this one's just for prototype and programming, so it doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to work close enough. This is supposed to be the backboard. This is what lights up, the back glass, I mean. And see, I don't even have a proper back glass on mine. I just have 5 lights. There are 5 lights. I have 5 lights in the general area where they're supposed to be. I mean, you know, when you have a pinball machine, the back glass lights up, and then see, like in this game, they flicker these to look like the space shuttle exhaust, even though I don't think you'd be able to see that in space because there's no oxygen, but whatever. So yeah, so on my game, I just have to use these lights when I'm programming it and just assume that it'll look cool when it's behind the back glass. This particular game itself, the one that I program with, this was assembled, gosh, I want to say February of 2013, so it's over a year old, and everything is done by hand. These are brass soldered habit trails. These are welded steel in the real game, but I have to fix these every so often. Even as paper. See, this is paper. I made a paper pattern of that so it could be turned into metal. So the real one, that's all metal, but on mine, it's a piece of paper. So yeah, and this thing is on wheels, so we can move it around. And then it also is a rotisserie, so you can rotate it and work on it, see? This one is held together with duct tape and prayer. So here in the Bench Heck Show, usually at least once a day, we take a pinball break. Oh, the wall of circuits. This is just a bunch of motherboards from over the years, and like here's a Commodore 64, Commodore 64, Atari 2600, Xbox 360, totally fried. Apple II GS, that was an awesome Apple computer. This is an old prototype board that we made. Yeah, so I just kind of hang them on the wall, and it's like art. I always have to keep like some lithium grease around. You gotta have lots of WD-40. This is 91% alcohol, you know, really high grain rubbing alcohol. Super useful. We use this stuff nonstop. Acetone is also very useful because you can use it to, well, it's a super solvent. So when you're doing 3D prints, you can use that to clean up the 3D prints, or you can use it to dissolve the plastic. Really anything you want. I have a Pinball Construction Zone sign signed by Python Angelo, the crazy pinball designer who recently passed away, but I got him to sign something as late as like 5 months ago, so that's pretty cool. Python was really crazy. You'd have an entire episode about him. This was the very first thing I routed for Bill Paxton Pinball. It's a very basic pinball layout out of prototyping foam. This is actually foam. And this was actually the very first thing I routed. Looking at it now, it's like, this is barely, that's only ½ an inch. That's like, how could somehow the ball stayed in it. But yeah, see, we had the pop bumpers, and of course everything changed, but yeah. And like down here, the ball would just get stuck, and then you had to pick it up and shoot it again. It was very primitive, but it did work. Oh, and then we have this oscilloscope. The Hackerspace gave this to me, and I didn't realize at the time that they were just trying to pawn off junk. But it's a 1969 Tektronix Oscilloscope. These are actually modules. Check this out. See? You can take out the module, and then down here, you can say, oh, I want to use this module. See, they're all interchangeable. And we actually fired this thing up. It does sort of work. It's within spitting distance of actually working. Oh, and then there's even a place to hold your probes. And then this part you can pick up. Pick up is a relative term. Oh my gosh. Every bathroom needs an ancient oscilloscope in it. I figure, you know, if we ever do an independent film or something, again, this would be a great prop. You know, like the mad scientist lair. I mean, Nixon was president when this thing was built. And we had just landed on the moon. This is the best oscilloscope you can buy. I guarantee it. Oh, check out this cool poster that we got. You can never forget who the Cylons are. Oh yeah, and then this is, I don't know why I have this. This is a leftover single board computer I had from an AMD project, so I stuck an SSD on it and Linux, so I can run Linux on this monitor if I want, for some reason. It's there. I hope you enjoyed this tour of my shop. Please let us know if you want to continue to see bonus content by leaving a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe!